Alright, so let's play a little word association game. When I say The Sims 4, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Bright pops of color, plum bobs, Bella Goth, The Sims gurus, maybe a Sims YouTuber. All things rather harmless and pedestrian. Now, if I say Sims 4 mods, maybe you think about life's tragedies, and all the funny ways you can murder your Sims, or Basemental and its addition of drugs and gangs, and how you can get Father Winter addicted to cocaine. What about Wicked Whims? How very spicy. Nothing quite like seeing your pixelated Barbies having dick and balls. It's a strange dichotomy, isn't it? You know, the sanitary, polished mess that is The Sims 4, and the somewhat seedy charm of the modding community. That's not to say there's not sweet saccharine mods for the game, but mentioning them kind of takes away from the point I'm trying to make. There are some dark mods for The Sims, which is fine for the most part. Mods can be dark and add the grittier parts of life to the game and still be good. I mean, there's Mortem, for example. It's a great mod. It adds some realism to death and death care. You have to report deaths and call the medical examiner and set up your funeral. And then on the other side of that same coin, there's Life's Tragedies again, which does the exact opposite. There is no realism in that. It's just a funny, cartoonish edge to murder and other miscellaneous beatings. Then there are mods that go too far. Wicked Whims is a mostly fine mod on its own. There's not really a good way to say this, but the incest thing's really fucking weird. And then there's also the ability to unrestrict romance with teens, which I guess you could say they're 18, and I guess it doesn't really matter because, teens are functionally the same as adults, but it's still kind of weird. It's not exactly kosher, but I think the majority of users manage to look past that level of questionable content. The issue comes when the Wicked Whims framework is allegedly used for less savory topics. Now, I feel the need to mention that these expansions to Wicked Whims are not in any way endorsed by Turbo Driver, the original Wicked Whims creator, but that also doesn't really... that doesn't stop the fact that these expansions exist purely for the titillation of nonces. So, All the Fallen is an adult mod hosting site, not dissimilar to Nexus or Lover's Lab. The content, however, I can't really beat around the bush with this. It's a fucking CP site with a healthy dose of bestiality. But yes, these expansions for Wicked Whims allow your pixelated Barbies to copulate with children, toddlers, dogs, cats, puppies, and kittens. I feel the need to clarify because, holy shit, I'm not the first person to speak about this topic. It's rather old hat at this point. Better creators, more competent, more involved in the community have spoken on this topic, and yet nothing has happened in 3 years. It's been 3 fucking years. And it's gonna keep going on, because that's just the cycle of the internet, I suppose. So, some backstory for the aforementioned child and animal sex mods. They were originally patented Colonel Nutty creations, but after Nutty got caught in some community backlash, because, and this is both horrible and hilarious, zoophiles were so hyped to see the dog fucking component of this, and then they shared it around. And then had a moral outrage because they discovered the child fucking component? I'm just imagining how the conversation went. It must have been like, yeah, woo, let's fuck dogs. But fucking children, that's a step too far. That's a task failed successfully moment, I guess. Don't fuck dogs, but I'm glad you're really against fucking kids. Either way, Nutty worked in part with a modder called Harky, who took the reins when Nutty stepped away from that. But only the child and puppy components of the mod, although not the regular cats and dogs part. Either way, since 2019, Harkey's version of the aforementioned child mod alone has over 85,000 downloads. Since 2019, it's been updated a total of 53 times. That's just the child mod. The toddler version has another 60,000 downloads. And now I've had to contemplate what makes a pedophile decide children are okay, but toddlers just a step too far. I wish I was dead. So on the child and toddler modules, Harkey gives the same kind of excuse you always get. You know, it's not a real child, it's not hurting real children, it's how I cope with my own trauma, blah blah blah, same shit you hear every time a freak decides to share their pedophilic work. Of course, for posterity's sake, here is the disclaimer at the top of their downloads. By downloading, installing, and/or using any content from here, you agree to the following terms. This product is meant strictly for adult entertainment. You must be 18 years or regional equivalent to use it, and make sure minors are not exposed to it. Content of this nature may not be legal where you live. Please check your local legislation and respect the law. Modifications and additions may have been done to the game and/or existing mods. These changes do not in any way represent the intended functionality of said game or mod. Original authors of these have not been involved in the process, and everything is done without their permission or approval. Do not ask them for any help or support. You will take full responsibility for the possession and use of this mod. Patch and/or files. Authors behind this, authors of the game / existing mod or sites that are hosting cannot be held liable for any problems, legal or otherwise, or damage you may have, included but not limited to loss of data, income / profit, or sanity. Gotta add the sanity part in the end, because, you know, it's cute, I guess. So, not really a good segue out of that, I'll be honest. The research for this has been rather fucking demoralizing, to put it simply. I've managed to steer clear of actually seeing CP, but just reading the comments alone, you know, the change logs for the mods, just watching the creator and their audience interact with these mods like it's the most normal fucking thing in the world, like you're downloading a recolor for Stardew Valley. It's fucking weird, man. I came across this post that was for a custom clothing option for children, being diapers. And here are a few choice comments. Pampers Rocker writes, "Very nice." ABN 65 writes, "Nice work. Is it possible to use them as toddlers do? Shower and change after? Make functional instead of looks only? Mod needed to made." Nappy9 writes, "Been waiting for something like this. Thanks you for making them." Lack of 7576 writes, "Very nice. And there are pacifier for children?" And it's just like the earnestness of these comments that just genuinely make my skin crawl. I don't think I need to tell you a sane, normal human fucking being shouldn't go around sexualizing diapers, but it's the fact that people do that just, I can't, you know? And then there's the rest of it. Pose boxes for child rape and age trait, because ages matter. Because of course, they want children to be the right age, because God forbid you've got a 5-year-old when you really want a 7-year-old. And then there's the tears overlays, because, you know, you want to see them cry. And then it's just the way they talk. You know, it's, I don't know. When you're using terms like ToddlerCon and Lolly and Shota, just rubs me the wrong way. I don't actually scratch that. I do want to sound harsh. And I don't say this often enough. But I genuinely hope everybody on this website fucking dies. I mean, for Christ's sake, the actual icon on the website tab is literally a vaginal mound. I don't want to talk about this anymore for the moment, so we're going to move back over to Colonel Nutty, because while he is also abhorrent, he has public meltdowns, and I think it's funny. So Nutty has created 2 newer, rather decisive mods as of late, those being Sim Stealer.
Editing Milford here. It's actually called Sim Snatcher, not Sim Stealer. Don't know what the fuck I was on.
Which is just a slavery mod. You can steal, buy and sell Sims. Kind of weird. I don't really care about that one. That's not going to be my main focus. What I will say is his Devious Desires mod raises a lot more alarm bells because it enables rape, bestiality, and a small variety of fetish content. It's been colloquially referred to as a substitute for wicked whims. So obviously there's also incest. And because I had to read this, so must you too. Here is the pet section of the Devious Desires module page. Sex and sex autonomy for both Animal Sim x Human Sim and Animal Sim x Animal Sim, both player sims and NPC sims. Gender options. Animal Sims utilize new gender options. You can have Futanari and Cunt Boy Animal Sims now. Okay. Oh. Male Animal Sims may also become pregnant, and female Animal Sims may get other Sims pregnant. There's nudity. Pregnancy. Animal Sim x Human Sim hybrid pregnancies. Human Sims can give birth to Animal Sims. Animal Sims can give birth to Human Sims. There's traits. Zoophiliac indicates a Sim is willing to have sex with animals. Pack Bitch makes a Human Sim more likely to have sex with pet and animal Sims, and more likely to become pregnant with hybrid pet/animal Sim babies. Penis Knot. A Human Sim with this trait is flagged for having a knot on their penis, and thus may be able to knot other Sims during sex. Leashing. Human Sims can leash other Human Sims and walk around with them, as one would a pet Sim. Relationships. Custom romance track between human and animal Sims. Romance interactions between Human Sims and animal Sims. Also autonomous if the Sim is a zoophiliac. Knotting. Sims may knot other Sims when they have an orgasm during sex if they have a knot on their penis. Works with selectable pets. Now it gets me, and this is a fucking nitpick in the grand scheme of things, and I know it, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. They refer to the rape module as the kinky module. I don't know why. There's no issue saying rape in other places, but they still call it the kinky module. Whatever. It basically allows you to rape other Sims, including animals, if you have the pets module installed as well as a lot trait, which is bad neighborhood, which means Sims more likely to be raped, especially when they're mean, like after performing mean interactions. Rough sex is whatever. There's 2 new skills, domination and submission, as well as 2 traits, rapist and victim. I don't know where to go from that one. I mean, there's a couple other modules that don't really pertain to any particular issue. They're more normal, for lack of a better term. For other kinks, like milking and scat, they're fine. Weird, but, I mean, alright. And don't you worry, though. Our friend Harky has added support to these mods for children, toddlers, puppies, and kittens for your viewing pleasure. Keep it classy. So there was some drama a while back. So Colonel Nutty was kicked from Lover's Lab. Well, technically, temporary banned. And then decided to not come back, but not because of these mods. Well, not the content within them. The rape, cool. The dog fucking, amazing. No, he was banned because he, and I put this in quotation marks, allegedly stole large parts of code to make Devious Desires. Once again, dog fucking cool. Rape, awesome. But stealing somebody else's code is a big no-no. That somebody else's code being Turbo Driver, and he's basically a golden boy. There's also the argument that Nutty is not nearly as bad as Harky, as Harky was the one who keeps converting the mods for children. But McNutty made the framework. He was the one who initially converted wicked whims for children. Don't understand how people can argue with their whole chest out that Nutty is okay because he didn't seem into it. That's a direct quote from the Kiwi Farm thread. Like, hello, sir? What? Nutty has his beef with Turbo Driver and Deaderpool, and he has this long-winded rant attached to the bottom of his downloads. And it reads, the mod authors known as Turbo Driver and Deaderpool have chosen to stalk, target, and cyberbully me and anyone who chooses to use any of my mods. They have chosen to spread misinformation, slander, about my mods for years and have gone so far as to put malicious code and wicked whims targeting my mods. And by extension, those mods using S4CL, which is a large chunk of mod authors. I believe in creating mods that better the community as a whole, even if I have no personal interest in the criteria of the mod itself. Even the API called Sims 4 Community Library, which I have created for new and old mod authors to create simpler, more stable mods, while also providing a vast store of functionality for said mods, has been targeted by these mod authors. They go on witch hunts, banning and threatening anyone who dares join my Discord. They have threatened other mod authors, Discords, websites, and various other forms of media into also banning and threatening people for using my mods. Sadly, this has put me in a place where the very community I love and support slanders me and continues to spread the same misinformation, without knowing that many of the negative things said about me have zero evidence to back them, and are nothing more than cyberbullying. Though these mod authors are extremely successful, they have been using their popularity to ruin my reputation and railroad the community into believing these lies. This has caused many Discords to ban people for using any of my mods. It has turned my name into something that frightens everyone when it's even mentioned. I try my best to support and create content for this community out of my own pocket. This is completely unacceptable. Please do not believe everything you read on the internet. There's always two sides to a story, but above all, there's the absolute truth. It is up to us as a people to find it out and refrain from hopping onto bandwagons stirred up by popular mod authors. I love this community, and despite what TurboDriver and Deaderpool say to ruin me, I will continue doing my best to support this community. No one deserves this treatment, especially not someone who makes mods for free. I've yet to mention Deaderpool, but he's the creator of MC Mod Command Center, basically a big old mod that adds a bunch of customizability to The Sims 4. He's only ever really brought into this due to the fact that he and TurboDriver are friends. Ergo, Deaderpool sides with TurboDriver in most controversies. It really all started basically over a year ago between Colonel Nutty and Turbo, and it's a whole convoluted fucking mess where Nutty had a hand in creating the child sex mod module for Wicked Whims and then allegedly stealing code for devious desires. Or Nutty just went off the deep end. It really depends on who tells the story. Allegedly, Colonel Nutty tore apart the code to prove it wasn't used, and it just spiraled from there, with Nutty being kicked out of Lover's Lab for the code stealing, and then Turbo allegedly adding a slowdown bug to his code if it detected if you were using it of Colonel Nutty's mod. And TurboDriver has, vehemently denied this, but he still probably did it. The beef is just terribly convoluted, but at least it's funny, and I don't know, just there's something about Colonel Nutty trying to moralize the fact that he's getting cyberbullied for making a dog fucking mod. I don't know what to say, man. Cry harder? And I wish there was a way to tie a neat little bow on this, but there really isn't. I mean, Colonel Nutty is still posting. He uploads his mods to another host now. Harkey's still happily posting on All the Fallen, and I've had to scour through forum posts of e-pedos for the past 2 fucking hours. I toiled away wondering if I should link these pages so they could be reported, but I mean, even the links I left on my last video that didn't even feature nude photos were taken down by Mama YouTube, so I'll leave it up to you if you want to find it and report it. As well as, I'd like to lament the fact that for this research, I had to sign up for these sites themselves. I used my childhood email account to do so. It's the email linked to my Webkins account, which it just kind of makes me feel weird. I don't know. Not to be dramatic, but I think that was the end of my inner child. I think I've bludgeoned her to death. I guess to end this off, I hope Harkey and Colonel Nutty have a terrible rest of their lives. I hope they step on Lego and constantly have wet socks. I'm Milford Brimley. If I have to read the words puppy pussy ever again, I'll kill myself. I don't have an outro. Goodbye.